Are you tired of memorizing word lists without remembering them later? Want to speak smarter and sound more fluent in English? In this video, we bring you advanced English words explained with short, meaningful stories, so you not only understand the meaning, but feel the word in real-life situations. 1. Solitary, meaning alone, without others. Story. Mira sat on the bench in the park, watching families laugh and children run. She clutched her book tightly, her only friend these days. In her solitary world, the pages spoke louder than people ever had. 2. Baffle, meaning to confuse completely. Story. Ravi stared at the math problem. He had solved harder ones before, but this one baffled him. It felt like the numbers were mocking him in a language he didn't understand. 3. Glare, meaning to stare angrily, a fierce or bright light. Story. As she spilled coffee on his notes, he gave her a sharp glare. She stepped back, embarrassed, the heat from his eyes stronger than the hot drink. 4. Timid, meaning shy, lacking courage. Story. At the talent show, Eamon clutched the mic with shaking hands. His voice was soft, almost a whisper. He was timid, but determined. And when he finally sang, the crowd listened. 5. Whirlwind, meaning a chaotic or fast-moving situation. Story. Lily's first day at the city job was a whirlwind. Papers flying, phones ringing, people rushing. She barely had time to breathe, but she loved every moment. 6. Eavesdrop, meaning to secretly listen to others' conversations. Story. Behind the curtain, Rohan held his breath. He didn't mean to eavesdrop, but what his parents were saying about his future made his heart race. 7. Grumble, meaning to complain quietly. Story. Why do I always have to do the dishes? Anya grumbled, scrubbing the plate. Her brother sat lazily, pretending not to hear. 8. Radiant, meaning shining brightly or showing happiness. Story. On her wedding day, Priya was radiant. It wasn't just the dress or the makeup. Her smile lit the room more than the chandeliers ever could. 9. Linger, meaning to stay longer than needed. Story. The final bell rang, but Ritu lingered in the classroom. The silence after a good lesson was her favorite feeling. 10. Blunder, meaning a careless mistake. Story. In his speech, Karan called the principal by the wrong name. The blunder echoed in the auditorium, followed by awkward laughter. 11. Glimpse, meaning a quick look. Story. She caught a glimpse of her childhood home from the train window. Broken now, but filled with memories. 12. Vivid, meaning very clear, bright, or detailed. Story. Renu's dream was so vivid, she could see every color, feel the rain, hear the music. Waking up felt like losing something precious. 13. Drenched, meaning completely wet. Story. He walked home without an umbrella. The rain drenched his clothes, but he smiled. Some storms are worth dancing in. 14. Shatter, meaning to break into many pieces. Story. The vase hit the floor with a crash. As it shattered, so did her patience. That vase had been her mother's. 15. Murmur, meaning a soft, quiet sound. Story. In the hospital, the baby's soft murmurs brought tears to the father's eyes. That tiny sound meant hope. 16. Wander, meaning to walk without a fixed direction. Story. After the fight, Kabir wandered through the empty streets. He didn't know where he was going, but anywhere felt better than home. 17. Humble, meaning not proud, modest. Story. Even after winning the award, Mira remained humble. It's not just me, she said. It's the team who made this happen. 18. Menace, meaning a threat or danger. Story. The broken bridge was a menace to the villagers. Every monsoon they feared it might collapse, but no one fixed it. 19. Crumble, meaning to fall apart or break down. Story. Years after her parents' divorce, Neha still remembered how her world crumbled in that single moment of silence. 20. Flicker, meaning To shine unsteadily, a brief movement or thought. Story. The candle's flame flickered in the darkness. For a second, she thought she saw her grandma's shadow, smiling like always. 21. Serene, meaning calm, peaceful, and untroubled. Story. At dawn, the lake looked serene, like a giant mirror reflecting the sky. Rhea sat by the water, letting its stillness calm the storm inside her. 22. Mock, meaning to make fun of someone in a mean or teasing way. Story. Every time Arjun spoke in English, the boys would mock him. One day he stood up and spoke fluently. Their silence was louder than their laughter had ever been. 23. Yearn, meaning to long deeply or intensely for something. Story. Separated by thousands of miles, she yearned to see her son again. Every night she stared at his childhood photo and whispered goodnight. 24. Cautious, meaning careful to avoid problems or danger. Story. Ravi walked through the forest, cautious of snakes, placing each step like a chess move. One wrong step, and it could all go wrong. 25. Vanish, meaning to disappear suddenly. Story. The magician clapped, and the bird vanished in a puff of smoke. The crowd gasped, still not sure if it was magic or just clever hands. 26. Reckless, meaning without thinking of the danger, careless. Story. Kunal drove his bike recklessly, weaving through traffic. He laughed, but the old man watching him shook his head. Foolish youth doesn't last. 27. Reluctant, meaning unwilling, hesitant. Story. She was reluctant to leave her village, afraid of the city lights and noise. But her dreams were bigger than her fears, so she stepped on the train. 28. Sorrow, meaning deep sadness. Story. After his dog passed away, little Ishan sat by its empty bed, eyes full of sorrow. The silence hurt more than tears. 29. Swift, meaning moving very fast. Story. The cheetah was swift, a blur of gold and black in the grass. Before the deer could blink, it was already over. 30. Bold, meaning brave and confident. Story. Despite the crowd staring, she gave her opinion with a bold voice. For the first time, she didn't shrink. She stood tall. 31. Perplex, meaning to confuse or puzzle completely. Story. The strange message on the wall perplexed the detective. It had numbers, symbols, and a name he hadn't heard in years. 32. Snatch, meaning to grab quickly and suddenly. Story. The boy ran across the market and snatched an apple from the cart. Before the seller could shout, he had disappeared into the crowd. 33. Gloomy, meaning dark, sad, or depressed. Story. The sky was gloomy, and so was Rhea's heart. The rain outside matched the tears she refused to show. 34. Delight, meaning great pleasure or joy. Story. When Rishi got his first guitar, his eyes sparkled with delight. He played it till his fingers hurt and then played some more. 35. Stumble, meaning to trip or lose balance. Story. While running to catch the bus, Tara stumbled on a stone. Her books flew, but a stranger helped her up with a kind smile. 36. Sneer, meaning to smile or speak in a mocking or unkind way. Story. You think you can win? The bully said with a sneer. But Rahul ignored him, knowing that real strength didn't need to be loud. 37. Lush, meaning rich and full, especially of vegetation. Story. The forest was lush after the rains. Green leaves danced in the wind, and the air smelled of earth and life. 38. Plead, meaning to beg or ask for something with deep emotion. Story. The little girl held her mother's hand and pleaded, "Don't go." Her mother kissed her forehead, whispering that she would return soon. 39. Ruthless, meaning showing no pity or compassion. Story. The king was ruthless, punishing even the smallest mistakes. His soldiers feared him more than the enemy. 40. Awestruck, meaning filled with wonder and amazement. Story, as they stood beneath the glowing northern lights, the children were awestruck. It was like the sky had come alive just for them. 41. Whimper, meaning to make soft crying sounds. Story, the puppy whimpered under the table, scared of the thunder. Rena crawled close, wrapping her arms around it gently. 42. Gaze, meaning to look steadily at something. Story. He would gaze at the stars every night, wondering if someone on the other side of the world was staring up too. 43. Shiver, meaning to shake slightly, usually from cold or fear. Story. Without a blanket, Alok shivered in the cold night, waiting for the bus that never seemed to come. 44. Clutch, meaning to hold something tightly. Story. As the train moved, she clutched her ticket and suitcase, afraid of losing either in the rush. 45. Sneak, meaning to move silently to avoid being noticed. Story. The boy sneaked into the kitchen at midnight, searching for leftover cake without waking anyone up. 46. Tremble, meaning to shake from fear, excitement, or weakness. Story. Standing before the crowd, her hands trembled as she prepared to give her speech, but then she took a deep breath. 47. Glisten, meaning to shine with a soft and reflected light. Story. After the rain, the leaves glistened like they were wearing tiny diamonds. The forest looked like a magical painting. 48. Haunt, meaning to cause repeated fear or sorrow, to stay in the memory. Story. The memory of the accident still haunted him. He couldn't cross that street without hearing the sound of crashing glass. 49. Frail, meaning weak and delicate. Story. Grandma was frail, her steps slow, but her smile was still as strong as ever. 50. Admire, meaning to respect or look up to someone or something. Story. Ronnie admired her teacher not just for her knowledge, but for the way she treated everyone with kindness. 51. Witty, meaning clever and funny. Story. Even during arguments, Rahul always had a witty comeback that made everyone laugh, even the teacher. 52. Sturdy, meaning strong and well-built. Story. The old wooden chair was sturdy despite its age. It had supported generations of stories, meals, and memories. 53. Faint, meaning not strong or clear, weak. Story. She heard a faint knock at the door, like a whisper. When she opened it, no one was there. 54. Grin, meaning a big, happy smile. Story. When his name was announced as the winner, his grin stretched from ear to ear. 55. Disguise, meaning to hide identity by changing appearance. Story. The thief wore a disguise so clever that even his own brother didn't recognize him. 56. Echo, meaning a sound that is repeated after the original sound. Story. He shouted into the cave, and his voice came back to him, a lonely echo bouncing off the stone walls. 57. Peril, meaning serious danger. Story. The climbers knew the peril of Everest, but they still pressed on, determined to reach the top. 58. Gulp, meaning to swallow quickly, often from fear or thirst. Story. Before answering the difficult question, she took a deep gulp and tried to calm her racing heart. 59. Prank, meaning a playful trick or joke. Story. Robbie's prank with the fake spider made his sister scream and then laugh for 5 minutes. 60. Shriek, meaning a high-pitched loud cry. Story. The girl shrieked when the power went out, grabbing her brother's arm in the dark. 61. Snuggle, meaning to settle or move into a warm, comfortable position. Story. On a cold winter evening, Tina snuggled under the blanket with her favorite book and a cup of tea. 62. Trickle, meaning to flow slowly in a thin stream. Story. A tear trickled down his cheek as he watched the farewell train disappear into the distance. 63. Stare, meaning to look at something or someone for a long time. Story. Arian stared at the old photograph, wondering how much had changed and how much had stayed the same. 64. Creep, meaning to move slowly and quietly, often to avoid being noticed. Story. She crept into the kitchen, careful not to wake her parents, and stole a cookie from the jar. 65. Feeble, meaning lacking strength or power. Story. His voice was feeble, but the words were full of love. I'm proud of you, my child. 66. Glide, meaning to move smoothly and effortlessly. Story. The swan glided across the lake like a dancer on water, graceful and calm. 67. Hesitate, meaning to pause before doing something, often because of fear or uncertainty. Story. He hesitated before knocking on the door, unsure if she would welcome him back after all this time. 68. Roam, meaning to wander around freely and aimlessly. Story. After school, the boys would roam the fields until sunset, chasing dreams and butterflies. 69. Startle, meaning to surprise or frighten someone suddenly. Story. The sudden loud bang startled Mira, making her drop her coffee all over her report. 70. Whirl, meaning to spin quickly. Story. The dancer whirled on stage, her red dress flowing like fire in motion. 71. Gasp, meaning to take a quick breath, often due to surprise or shock. Story. He gasped when he saw the view from the mountain peak. It was breathtaking. 72. Hush, meaning a calm silence, to make someone quiet. Story. Hush now, whispered the mother as she rocked her crying baby to sleep. 73. Tangle, meaning a twisted, confused mess. Story. Her headphones were always in a tangle, no matter how carefully she kept them. 74. Rumble, meaning a deep, heavy, continuous sound. Story. The sky rumbled before the storm hit, and the children rushed indoors. 75. Drift, meaning to move slowly, especially by wind or water. Story. The paper boat drifted down the stream, carrying a child's wish into the unknown. 76. Halt, meaning to stop suddenly. Story. The bus halted when a cow stood right in the middle of the road, refusing to move. 77. Mumble, meaning to speak in a low, unclear way. Story. When asked about the broken window, Raju mumbled, avoiding eye contact. 78. Scurry, meaning to move quickly with short steps. Story. The mice scurried across the kitchen floor when the light was switched on. 79. Frown, meaning to make a facial expression showing displeasure. Story. She frowned at the empty fridge. Someone had eaten the last piece of cake. 80. Glimmer, meaning a faint or small amount of light, hope, or emotion. Story. In the darkest night, a single glimmer of hope was all Arav needed to keep going. 81. Rustle, meaning a soft, light sound like leaves moving. Story. She heard a rustle in the bushes and turned, expecting a cat, but found a letter tucked between the branches. 82. Wail, meaning a loud cry of grief or pain. Story. When the boy dropped his ice cream, he let out a wail so loud the entire park turned to look. 83. Jumble, meaning a confused mixture or mess. Story. His thoughts were a jumble of ideas, doubts, and dreams as he stepped onto the stage. 84. Huddle, meaning to gather closely together. Story. During the storm, the family huddled under a blanket, waiting for the power to return. 85. Gush, meaning to flow out in a fast, powerful stream. Story. Water gushed from the broken pipe, soaking the room in minutes while Ronnie grabbed buckets in a panic. 86. Cringe, meaning to react in discomfort or fear. Story. He cringed when the teacher read his poem aloud to the entire class. especially the part about love. 87. Stumble, meaning to trip or momentarily lose balance. Story, Rhea stumbled on the uneven path but laughed it off, pretending she meant to do it all along. 88. Sniffle, meaning to breathe in quickly, usually from crying or a cold. Story, through her sniffles, she managed to say, "It's okay, I'm just allergic to sad movies." 89. Clatter, meaning a loud rattling noise. Story, the plates fell to the floor with a clatter, and for a second, everyone at the dinner table froze. 90. Glare, meaning an intense, angry stare or bright light. Story, she shot him a glare that could melt steel when he spilled tea on her book. 91. Twinkle, meaning a small, shining light or a cheerful expression. Story, his eyes twinkled when he surprised his sister with a handmade card. 92. Shudder, meaning to shake due to fear, cold, or disgust. Story, she shuddered at the thought of walking through the graveyard at night. 93. Yawn, meaning to open the mouth wide when tired or bored. Story, during the long meeting, Rohit tried to hide his yawns behind his notebook. 94. Tug, meaning to pull something with force. Story, he tugged on the rope with all his strength, helping his brother climb out of the well. 95. Blink, meaning to open and close the eyes quickly. Story, she blinked in disbelief when she saw the surprise party waiting in her room. 96. Croak, meaning a low, rough sound, often like a frog or a weak voice. Story, after hours of cheering, his voice croaked, but his team had won, so he didn't care. 97. Wriggle, meaning to twist and turn with quick movements. Story, the toddler wriggled out of her mother's arms, eager to chase the puppy across the lawn. 98. Groan, meaning a low sound expressing pain or frustration. Story, a groan escaped his lips when he saw the long line outside the bank again. 99. Peep, meaning to look quickly or secretly. Story, Rhea peeped through the curtain to see if her crush had arrived at the party yet. 100. Chuckle, meaning a quiet or gentle laugh. Story, Grandpa chuckled at his own joke, even though no one else understood it, and that made everyone laugh anyway. 101. Stumble, meaning to trip or make a mistake. Story, while speaking English at the interview, Arif stumbled on a few words, but he smiled and continued, and that confidence won him the job. 102. Chatter, meaning to talk quickly and casually. Story, the two sisters chattered endlessly about their day, their voices blending with the sound of the boiling tea. 103. Snatch, meaning to grab something quickly. Story, as the wind blew his notes off the bench, Rahul snatched them midair before they could fly away. 104. Rattle, meaning to make a quick series of knocking sounds. Story, the window rattled during the storm, and Meena clutched her blanket a little tighter. 105. Cower, meaning to crouch down in fear. Story, the puppy cowered under the table when the thunder roared. Ronnie gently picked him up and whispered, "It's okay." A 106. Beckon, meaning to signal someone to come closer. Story, the magician beckoned to the boy in the front row, inviting him on stage for a trick he'd never forget. 107. Smirk, meaning a sly or confident smile. Story, I told you I'd win, Ritu said with a smirk, holding up the trophy while her brother rolled his eyes. 108. Scold, meaning to speak angrily for doing something wrong. Story, when Arav broke the vase, his mother didn't scold him. She just sighed and handed him a broom. 109. Trudge, meaning to walk slowly and heavily. Story, after a long day at work, Anil trudged up the stairs to his flat, dreaming of tea and silence. 110. Snore, meaning to breathe loudly while sleeping. Story, his snoring was so loud, Even the neighbor joked about wearing earplugs. 111. Grope, meaning to feel about blindly or uncertainly. Story. During the power cut, Asha groped along the wall until her fingers found the switch. 112. Shrug, meaning to raise your shoulders to show uncertainty. Story. Do you know where my phone is? She asked. He just shrugged and continued eating chips. 113. Flick, meaning a quick light movement. Story. With a flick of his wrist, the coin disappeared from sight. The children gasped in amazement. 114. Pout, meaning to push one's lips forward in annoyance or playfulness. Story. When her father said no to ice cream, Mina pouted like only a 6-year-old could. 115. Tiptoe, meaning to walk quietly on the toes. Story. He tiptoed out of the room so his little brother wouldn't wake up from his nap. 116. Snarl, meaning to speak in an angry, harsh voice. Story. Don't touch that, the old man snarled, scaring the kids who were only trying to pet his dog. 117. Skip, meaning to move along lightly, jumping on alternate steps. Story. She skipped down the street, humming her favorite song, her bag bouncing with every step. 118. Twitch, meaning a sudden, quick movement. Story. His eye twitched every time he got nervous, and during exams it almost danced. 119. Yelp, meaning a short, high-pitched cry, usually of surprise or pain. Story. When the dog stepped on a thorn, it let out a sharp yelp, and Ravi rushed to help. 120. Clench, meaning to hold something tightly, especially in anger or fear. Story. She clenched her fist during the argument, trying hard not to say something she'd regret. 121. Burrow, meaning to dig or hide into something. Story. The rabbit burrowed into the soil, vanishing from sight while the children searched for it, giggling. 122. Tumble, meaning to fall suddenly and helplessly. Story. He tumbled down the grassy hill, laughing the entire way until he landed beside his kite. 123. Scribble, meaning to write carelessly or quickly. Story. During the boring lecture, she scribbled tiny cartoons in her notebook instead of notes. 124. Waddle, meaning to walk with short steps, swaying from side to side. Story. The ducklings waddled behind their mother across the street, creating a traffic jam of smiles. 125. Snooze, meaning to sleep lightly or nap. Story. After lunch, Grandpa snoozed in his chair, his book slipping gently onto the floor. 126. Crack, meaning a sudden sharp sound or break. Story. There was a loud crack, and the cricket bat split in two, but the 6 still counted. 127. Spill, meaning to accidentally pour liquid or objects. Story. She spilled her coffee all over the report, and her day instantly turned from calm to chaotic. 128. Buzz, meaning a low, continuous humming sound. Story. The bees buzzed around the sunflowers, busy at work in nature's little factory. 129. Swoop, meaning to move down quickly through the air. Story. The eagle swooped down and grabbed the fish from the river before flying off like a shadow. 130. Sniff, meaning to draw in air through the nose. Story. He sniffed the soup cautiously. It smelled odd, like someone had added chocolate to tomatoes. 131. Pace, meaning to walk back and forth, often when nervous. Story. Maya paced outside the exam hall, biting her lip and whispering formulas to herself. 132. Squint, meaning to look with partly closed eyes. Story. He squinted at the tiny writing on the label, wondering if it said sugar or salt. 133. Grumble, meaning to complain in a low voice. Story. She grumbled about having to clean her room, but in the end, it sparkled, just like her mood. 134. Gawk, meaning to stare openly and stupidly. Story. The tourist gawked at the tall glass building while locals walked by like it was just another wall. 135. Whimper, meaning to make low crying sounds from pain or fear. Story. The kitten whimpered when it got stuck in the drawer, but thankfully Rhea found it quickly. 136. Peer, meaning to look carefully or with difficulty. Story. He peered through the foggy window, hoping to catch a glimpse of her walking by. 137. Blurt, meaning to say something suddenly without thinking. Story. Without meaning to, Mehul blurted out the surprise plan, ruining the whole birthday setup. 138. Gulp, meaning to swallow quickly, often nervously. Story. Before starting his speech, Arjun took a big gulp of water and hoped his voice wouldn't crack. 139. Scoff, meaning to speak in a mocking or dismissive tone. Story. When she said she wanted to be a pilot, her cousin scoffed, but now she flies across the world. 140. Doze, meaning to sleep lightly or briefly. Story. He dozed off on the bus and woke up 5 stops past his home. 141. Tinker, meaning to try to repair or improve something in a casual way. Story. Ravi loved to tinker with old radios in the garage, even if they never worked again. It was the joy of discovery that mattered. 142. Stagger, meaning to walk unsteadily as if about to fall. Story. After carrying 3 buckets of water uphill, she staggered to the porch and collapsed with laughter. 143. Spurt, meaning a sudden flow or burst. Story. The ketchup spurted out and landed all over his shirt. That's why I hate new bottle, he muttered. 144. Crumple, meaning to crush something into wrinkles or folds. Story. He read the rejection letter, sighed and crumpled it into a ball before tossing it into the bin. 145. Grope, meaning to search blindly with your hands. Story. In the darkness of the movie hall, she groped around for her dropped phone until a stranger handed it back. 146. Snort, meaning to force air out through the nose, often in amusement. Story. He snorted with laughter at his own joke, even though nobody else thought it was funny. 147. Whisk, meaning to move quickly or lightly. Story. The wind whisked her scarf off her neck, sending it flying across the field like a ribbon. 148. Drizzle, meaning light rain falling gently. Story. They walked hand in hand through the drizzle, too in love to care about getting wet. 149. Wince, meaning to make a face showing pain or discomfort. Story. He winced as the nurse gave him the injection, not because it hurt, but because he hated needles. 150. Puff, meaning a short burst of air or smoke. Story. She blew a puff of powder into the air and laughed as it settled on her friend's nose. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel Speakifiee to enhance your communication skills and level up your English, one story at a time.